I'm interviewing the owner and founder, Chad Coleman, and we're just going to be talking about the mission statement, brand promise, and just kind of clarifying what those two things are. Because it can get a little cloudy when you start a small business. So, Chad, if you wouldn't mind kind of letting us know, what is a mission statement? Why is it important? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate you wanting to do this video just because, there's a lot of confusion around these various topics having to do with brands, partially because the idea of what a brand is has changed over time as society has changed. But the mission part of a brand is incredibly important, especially in this era that we live in now, where people want to have, well, first of all, people have access to all the information in the world, like about a company, about a founder, with the advent of social media and the internet, of course. People have access to so much information about companies that people are more informed than they've ever been. And so since we live in a society of more informed people than we've ever had, it's really important that a company figure out what its mission in the world is beyond making money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people would say, well, why do we need that? Well, it's because as entrepreneurs, we can be a force for change in the world, and we can create the change that we want to see, in the world through our work and through our companies. And when we have a really clearly defined mission, which basically states just that, like, what is the change that you want to affect in the world? It helps us from a marketing perspective, because it helps our potential customers understand, like, look, we're not just in this business to be greedy capitalists who are trying to make as much money as possible. Of course, we want to be successful entrepreneurs, but there's more to what we're doing than just printing money, and creating a money machine in our business. We want to affect this industry, whatever your specialty is. You want to see something about it, change. So, and it's really also important from an internal company perspective as well, because when your employees understand what your company's true mission is, the reason your company exists beyond making money, then they can be people who take that baton and run with it, rather than it always having to come from the founder itself. So we're on a mission to empower entrepreneurs with the knowledge and tools to create a successful business. And so, that's the North Star for everyone that works at Herosmyth. And so when you empower your employees with a very clear mission, they understand, even in your absence, hey, if I have A or B path, well, which of these things pushes us closer to that central mission statement that we have as a company? And so from both an internal and external perspective, it's important that a company has a defined mission, so that it's clear to everyone in the world.
That
Not the
makes a
best
lot of
idea. That.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And to me, it sounds like it's a trust between the employees who you work with, but then also the trust between the clients or the people that you're working with and who you are as a brand. They got to know who you are, and then no matter who they speak to, they know that they're going to get that same values across the board. And I think,
Yeah, and I think that when you start getting a group of the people within the company and aligned with the people that believe in that same mission, you have an incredible opportunity to create a community around that mission. As much as we solve a lot of problems as entrepreneurs, we can also get in our heads a little bit and think that, like, we're the bee's knees because we're solving this one problem. Or a lot of people, when they're first starting the business, they think, well, geez, I've come up with this great solution. Everyone's just automatically going to buy it. And the fact is, sometimes it's not that simple. But when you can kind of capture people's hearts and minds with the overarching mission of your company, you have the opportunity to create a great community around your brand. And that's what marketing is really about these days, is building a community of people who are aligned around a certain cause, with things like social media, we have better communication. Well, I don't know about better, but we have more communication than ever. And if we leverage those mediums to push our mission out there in the world, then we can attract people to us who agree with the change that we want to see in the world. In our case, who agree with empowering entrepreneurs, and that can be incredibly valuable for the long-term health of the company.
Yeah, and then your customers end up speaking for you, and then there you are, not doing half of the work because they're speaking it. They're saying, "Hey, I know, I trust, I can rely on this to happen because this is what they've always done for me." And so I think that's a good kind of leeway into what a brand promise is, from a mission statement to a brand promise. What are those differences between the two? I know it's an extension, but I mean, brand promise kind of sounds like the same thing to me.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of confusion around these topics, as I mentioned, so I'm really glad you asked about it. Every great brand that we've ever heard of has figured out, what their mission is and what their brand promise is. And to put it as simply as possible, a brand promise is a promise that a company makes to its community or its customers, that it is guaranteed effectively that it's going to fulfill every time. And it's basically, in its most essential form, is the value that to the customer that your company promises to give over and over and over again.
Could I stop you there though? What's the difference between a mission statement and a vision statement? Because isn't a vision statement have that value and promise as well too?
Yeah, I think there's definitely confusion between mission and vision. Mission, again, is that change that how we're trying to affect the world, and the change we're trying to create, utilizing our company. And like I said, our North Star. The vision, and frankly, like people of branding ilk, like myself, argue about these things, and there's a little bit of debate. But in my mind, the mission, it makes it so, being a great brand is about being ultra clear and easy to understand, and at some level. So I think having the mission be, what we discussed, the change that you want to see in the world, and then having the vision, for me, is the more, in 10 years, we want to achieve X, Y, and Z. It's, where we have a vision of doing X in 5 years and this in 10 years. And part of that vision can be fulfilling your mission, or at least, some concrete steps along the way of fulfilling your mission. So they're very intertwined, but I think of the vision as the more practical, like, here's our big, hairy, audacious goal that we want to hit, with our company in 5 years, 10 years, and maybe, the whole lifetime of the company. And with the mission obviously being more regarding that sort of North Star, that change we want to make in the world.
So then the brand promise is like the cherry on top, or the bow on top, what people can expect from both the mission and the vision each and every time. You've got your goals for the future and your vision, and you've got your mission of the change of what your purpose is. I mean, it comes back to that word because it's a powerful word.
Yeah, to me, purpose
really
and mission are intertwined. They're the mission, especially in its statement form, is the ultimate expression of your brand's purpose. So it's good that you brought up that term. And then the promise is like the thing that, like, well, for example, Walmart, not a brand I personally love, but I think everyone knows. And if I said, what promise does Walmart make to its customers all the time? What is the promise that it makes over and over again and that it fulfills on? And if you think about it for more than a few seconds, I think you would understand that Walmart promises to deliver low prices. That's what they promised from the very beginning. They've had multiple sort of campaigns around it. I remember, when I was growing up, they had the little smiley faces that rolled, and it was rollbacks and this and that. So the sort of marketing messages changed around that, but everyone knows, because Walmart has consistently, kept their nose to the grindstone in terms of, promising to have the lowest prices, that people instinctively know, hey, if you want the lowest prices on any given product, go to Walmart.
Yep.
And so yeah. So now, is that a good brand promise? That's highly debatable. I would argue that for most businesses, it's not good to be the lowest price being the promise that you make. And there's a whole lot of reasons we could go into, for that. But nonetheless, the most important thing about of a promise is that people can trust you're going to deliver on it every time. And then secondly, people that you actually follow through with that promise. And then the more you do that over time, the more people believe in it, and the more true and the more customers you can attract, because people who want your special thing, whatever that is, in Walmart's cases, it's lower prices. In some brands, it's a luxury experience. The more people can trust that you're going to deliver on that, the more customers you're naturally going to attract. And you're going to attract the right ones if you have a really clear promise, because, you might not want to attract people that want the lowest prices unless that's your brand promise,
Mm-hmm. No, that makes a lot of sense. And Walmart's a perfect example of that. I think what's challenging is, where do you even start? Like, how do you even, or if that's too broad, how do you know if you're the one that you have started or conceptualizing matches what you're doing already? Is there some clear signs that, hey, my promise, my mission, my vision, they're all lining up. People are really liking this.
Right. Yeah. I think it can be really difficult for founders to figure out this stuff on their own. Because and frankly, that's one of the big reasons we created Herosmyth, because I felt like if more small business owners, had these fundamental brand concepts nailed down and clarified, it would improve their organization in so many ways, not only in customer acquisition, which we work a ton on, of course, but also employee engagement, employee happiness, just more effective at whatever work the company does when they have these things done. And it's interesting because with things like this, it's really, when you start a company, it's your baby. It's the thing that you're obsessed about and you've worked on, and you've so our tendency as founders is we know everything about our company. So it can be really difficult for us as founders to see the forest for the trees, as the old expression goes, because we know every tree. And if you gave us enough time, we could tell you a nice long story about, an hour-long story about every tree in our company's forest. But no consumer who doesn't already love your business or your brand is going to give you that time, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I think an agency, like Herosmyth and other agencies as well, can be really helpful, because we can be that objective outsider. And and with what's cool about Herosmyth is through our direct collaboration model, where we work directly with teams and founders, we can form a relationship that's based on trust and be that objective outsider. And through techniques and workshops that we've developed over the years, we figured out how to get those founders to kind of get out of their their vision, their sort of locked in, blinders on vision about what they're doing day to day. We can sort of help them think about and see their company from a different perspective and define those things so that they can have a more holistic brand that's really ready to grow and attract tons of ideal customers to their business.
Well, that sounds pretty ideal. How can they get a hold of you in order to get started?
Yeah, you're probably watching this video on one of our channels, so check out, head over from there to herosmyth.com. Check out our website, and we offer a free brand consultation to anyone that would like to meet with us. And this isn't a sales meeting. It's really a time where we want to really help founders and help small businesses. So we volunteered an hour of our time to work with anyone that needs this kind of help. And so, you can book a free consultation with one of our, marketing and branding experts right on our website. So I'd encourage people to do that. And then,
hey, it's free.
And we can begin the process of sort of, asking the right questions to point you in the right direction, whether you end up working with us or not.
Yeah, that feels really empowering in itself, just kind of getting the stepping stones. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions and clarify it for those out there that are in the dark with mission statement, brand promise, and a little bit of vision in there too. It's been really fun, and I look forward to next time.
Thanks, Claire. It's been awesome speaking with you, and thank you for coming up with the idea of talking about this stuff. This is important things that can really empower entrepreneurs to create their dream businesses. So I'm excited to chat about it anytime.
Awesome. Thanks so much.